I honestly can't believe it that JoJo Part 6 Greatness Stone Ocean has officially dropped. The first core is now all available on Netflix. I have, at the recording of this video, the first 2 episodes, and I just want to get a little house cleaning out of the way because half the people don't read the pinned comment anyway. But what I plan to do for this release is every day minus the weekend, so no Saturday or Sundays, but every day up till next Wednesday, we're going to do a daily video covering 2 episodes of JoJo. Now, we used to have JoJo Fridays. That's not going to be the case with Netflix probably dropping a core every season. That's my assumption. Once Japan's caught up to this, which it starts in January in Japan, probably around March we'll probably get the next core is my assumption, or maybe they'll do monthly, maybe we'll get really blessed. Either way, that way we can have multiple discussions of this core rather than just doing it in one lump sum. So if those who, hopefully, because I think one of the cool things about having a channel covering anime is those who miss those JoJo Friday discussions, at the very least, you know, you can watch it in slower paces, or even if you binge the whole thing, you'll have multiple videos that you can talk with me and others about this core. And honestly, from what I just saw the first couple episodes, it's looking rather impressive. Honestly, ever since part 3, I've been excited about part 6, despite not reading the JoJo manga. I just know, like, the overall theme, or like, you know, I've heard buzz about certain characters, right? The lead protagonists. And honestly, I've always been excited about Jolene as a character, especially with the whole prison setting, because that's such a unique and different take on JoJo's formula. Settings play an incredibly important factor as setting up the story and the landscape. And I think throwing someone with stand powers, and most likely having multiple characters with stand powers in a prison, I mean, that's just a recipe for success. You'd have to butcher the characters or their stands or both for it not to be good. And we got a damn good taste at what this show is going to be looking like going on, and it is incredible. First things first though, I do want to talk about that opening, because we got another 3D opening finally in JoJo. The song, absolutely incredible. Netflix has a thing that has skip intro that pops up when openings play. If you ever hit skip intro for a JoJo opening, I'm pretty sure Satan himself will collect your soul, because that shit should be illegal. That was an incredibly well-directed opening, and I love the song they picked for the ending as well, which we got to hear in episode 2, as episode 1 was kind of like an extra long episode, which was incredible. Now, the overall, like, premise of how she ended up, in terms of she's arguing that she's innocent, she's basically on trial for life or a very long time, and you knew it wasn't going to go over smoothly even before you saw the boyfriend or the lawyer. The lawyer was giving me some red flags almost immediately. But it was interesting to see how it was just almost like high school sweethearts, right? You know, it was too good to be true. And because of a freak accident, ultimately they crashed in. She helped dispose of a body. Turns out that body was alive. And honestly, it's no surprise that anyone could be fooled that, you know, who they think is the love of their life at a very, you know, challenging time of your life. It's already bad enough with hormones going through you. It's another when you accidentally are part of a car that just took someone's life. I just wasn't necessarily expecting that the lawyer was working for a rich father of the boyfriend. I just thought it was like a personal grudge against her or something. But I wasn't really like doing these mastermind manipulations in my head. I was just like, okay, like clearly this dude's bad vibes, but at the same time he did give her the locket, but maybe he just has no idea that the locket had power to begin with, as we learned that Jotaro is her father, which is just honestly awesome. I'm excited to see what's going to go down with that department, because eventually he's got to pop up, right? But to see just the escalation of the first episode, they very much kick it off in probably the most JoJo fashion possible, while also going into territory that I thought even JoJo wouldn't explore. I mean, we've had a lot of like sexual things with JoJo. Look at the cherry scene with that licking. I mean, we've seen some crazy shit in JoJo, but within the first few minutes of episode 1, we're talking about masturbation. Honestly, the only way this drop of episodes could have been better is if they officially aired on November 30th, because then Jolene would have officially lost No Nut November. You might think that's a childish joke, but that shit cracks me up thinking that it was just one day off. But just like the overall personality of this girl, she ranges from having genuine emotions that I think most people would have, you know, the love of your life, you're trying to cover for him because you don't want him to go to jail, you're swayed by that teenage love, to the overall JoJo-ness of the topics at hand, to then getting a taste of what her ability is. I think what JoJo has always done a great job at is always making sure that its lead character has a badass ability that you say, oh my god, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. I constantly feel that way every single part, and the idea of almost like a yarn-like stand that, you know, at first it's just a little prick, and then the fact that you can start hearing things and the manipulation with your mind. I think the first real taste of that because they're teasing it, right? Like, she's starting to get these predictions. But then when she's leaving the bus initially, and who I was like, oh, this is going to be a really good friend, potentially still could be. But the idea that the thread kind of connected all the way to the bus, to the point of these guards literally beating the shit, to stealing money, to then getting their ear cut off. Honestly, was not expecting how brutal the first couple episodes will be, but I'm glad, because settings, like I said, I mean, if you're in a prison setting that's supposed to be brutal, I'm glad that JoJo isn't holding back. I mean, from the dead body from the car, the cutting of ears, to just the bloody and beaten pulps. I mean, in episode 2, when we get introduced to the second stand there with the idea of like shrinking seemingly anyone who comes into some form of connection with this psychotic quest. I mean, I don't know what the hell. Like, I thought it was going to be a split personality disorder. Wasn't expecting that it was going to be something along the lines of like, you know, forcing your servant down to a size using animal skin to do the bidding. Like, that was absolutely insanity. But I love how they animated everything, from the JoJo poses, to the expressions, to the holy shit, what did I just see? I mean, the stands are already super creative and disturbing, and I only watched a couple of episodes, and that says things are just getting started. Goo Goo Dolls, I thought, was insanely entertaining, but so messed up. I mean, really, really liking it. Or then Stone Free with Jolene. I know the subtitles say Stone Ocean, which makes total sense given the part. But I am going to try to, like, remember all the different stand names in terms of what they were originally labeled in the manga, because, you know, so many artists have gotten hissy fits, like Prince as an example, that if you use song names in media, they try to sue you because they have no soul. So unfortunately, when shows like JoJo come out, they have to shorten it, like GG Dolls or Stone Ocean when it's Stone Free. But you know, we try to do our best on the channel to remember what they're actually called, which sometimes it's very easy because it sounds exactly like the characters are saying it, but then other times, because I don't speak Japanese, it completely goes over my head and I have to look up the actual name. But I really, really enjoyed it, with episode 2 probably being my favorite. I mean, just getting into the thick of the prison, seeing the rules, and how, like, I was no real shocker that, I mean, immediately people were walking all over. It was just a matter of time until she started walking all over them. The idea of taking 2 lunches from your, you know, your cellmate goes from trying to kill you to saying, we're gonna be friends, leaving you behind so you clean up the mess as you eat her breakfast, to then the Locket situation, to then just the idea of sending her on a mouse run where she's gonna try to help you break out, but then immediately shit's going wrong, and just because shit's going wrong, the stand, Goo Goo Dolls, is trying to kill you because it thinks you're trying to leave. It was just such a entertaining escalation, and some of the most JoJo has ever been, I honestly think. I mean, we're getting definitely a taste of the mother with the backstory, the idea that she was honestly comparing Jolene from what we see now to how she was with her boyfriend and talking about her mother, how she calls her JoJo. There was just all these different little sweet moments to see like what shaped her into becoming that. And I think the idea of the plea deal, I think even though as a viewer you knew it wasn't going to go over well, I think for someone like her, believing in your lawyer, your attorney, it makes total sense, right? JoJo is an absolute blast, and I think it's going to be really fun to go 2 episodes at a time, because every time I've watched JoJo on Friday, I'm always wishing I had more episodes. And I mean, I've waited longer, I've waited 6 months for multiple TV shows to come back with 6 to 8 episodes. So if it is every 3 months, or maybe we'll get lucky, it'll be every month, but I highly doubt it, just because I don't think they're going to want to be too ahead of the Japanese broadcast, which it starts in January. So I'm assuming probably by March, we'll get the next 12. I think there's like 160-ish chapters for this part of the JoJo manga. So given that I heard that this first 12 covers about 50 or so, most likely anywhere from like 36 to 39 episodes is probably how many episodes Stone Ocean will be. But incredible debut, very, very good lead characters so far. Sexual, crazy JoJo. What more could you ask for? Let me know your thoughts and feelings on the first couple of episodes. Please leave thoughts for future episodes when I do cover those. Let's just talk about the first couple and have some fun discussions over the next week. Leave a like if you enjoyed and subscribe if you're new around here. So until next time, everyone, please take care and have a good one.